Blockbuster video casting call. 20 people will be selected for cameo roles. Bring a recent photo to Blockbuster and fill out an extra form at the Blockbuster casting desk. Sign up at Blockbuster Video today.
Jerry Sandusky's off this evening. Paul Davis joins us. And what are you going to talk about?
We'll talk of Jerry Glanville's future.
He always leaves tickets for Elvis Presley, who, of course, we don't know where
Never
it is.
come.
Jerry may need somebody to get him some tickets soon. His club about to start winning some football games. With his team over for the year, tonight's Falcons-Rams game may be make or break for head coach Jerry Glanville. Against the Rams, there's Jerry, and you can tell he's uptight. Deion Sanders back with him after the Braves were ousted. He didn't do much in 3 quarters. Billy Joe Tolliver sure did. A couple of touchdown strikes, a couple to a guy named Andre Rison. Watch the great catch there in the end zone. There's your final. They're still 1-5 to date. Jerry is safe for now anyway. Listen to this. Not so fast on that Eric Dickerson trade. It turns out his trade to Green Bay a bust. Eric flunked a physical today, some kind of a spinal problem. It was an unconditional trade, so running back John Stevens will stay with the Falcons. I think the Pack got burned. I want you to go out and buy a copy of Sports Illustrated. They deserve it after a nice plug for Baltimore. In this week's edition, they ranked the cities in line for an expansion team. Crabtown's the top of the list. Charlotte's their number 2 pick. It's no surprise, I'm sure, to local Crusaders.
For the last 7 or 8 years, our effort has been promote Baltimore, market Baltimore, look at our strengths, and emphasize our strengths.
Mr. Belgrad was telling me, forget all the hogwash you're hearing on the radio and reading in the paper. This city's chances are not diminishing. A great time had by all over on Pulaski Highway. Final night of the Eastern Open Stepladder Finals. It came down to Sandra Jo Shiree and Diana Teeters. Shiree won it with 202 pins to 184. She takes home $9,000 first place money. ESPN was there taping. It'll air early Wednesday just after midnight. And I wanted to show you this. Right before they started taping the show, the PR people had the Baltimore fans practice their applause. Wanted the telecast to sound exciting, I guess. I think our folks did their jobs well. We'll see them next week on ESPN. Kind of weird, but with no baseball tonight. Game 1 World Series is Saturday evening. Kurt Schilling and Juan Guzman the starters as of now. This was funny from last night. I mean, the Phils are just nuts. Right after they clinched a trip to the series, pitcher Denny Jackson loses it. I mean, somebody call a doctor, or maybe Hollywood. Hulk Hogan, look out. And right before the Braves made their exit from Veterans Stadium, you had to wonder if indeed they get out of there alive. Some of the celebrating Phils fans had all kinds of fun with them. The Braves didn't appreciate it too much. What'd you say to me? You know, I've been working out of state for a number of years. I keep telling you how great it is to be back in Baltimore. Hey, indoor lacrosse, it is great. I took in my first Baltimore Thunder practice last night. I can't believe how fast this game is and how hard these guys work. A newcomer to this year's team was the MVP at the World Games, came here if the Pittsburgh franchise folded.
It's disappointing to have a team we've been with for so long disband, but I think it's a great opportunity for the guys in Pittsburgh and in Baltimore. You're getting the best players from both teams together, and as you can see out here in practice, there's a lot of great athletes, so I think there's going to be a lot of great things going on here.
This team, the Thunder, finished dead last a season ago. They have to pick the 23-man roster by November 1.
Yeah, it's just, I'm ready to get started right now. I mean, these guys, you can tell, look at them tonight, they're playing hard. They're pretty much in pretty good condition at this point. We're going to get a little better condition, but I think if we had to go out there tonight, we'd acquit ourselves pretty nicely.
This will be the 8th year for the Major Indoor Lacrosse League. Expect good things from the Thunder this year. I'm telling you, they take some real shots out there.
Yeah.
They're sweating like dogs.
I don't think I ever combined lacrosse and bowling.
That'd be a heck of a game, right?
It could be a good commercial, too, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. We'll be right back after this.
But first, grab a pencil, paper, and write down these numbers. You could be a winner. My favorite story out of the World Series game tonight, Lenny Dykstra swallows a wad of tobacco, gets sick, comes back. He says that's the reason he hit the home run.
We've got him in the highlights, too, making a great catch. Do you know it's 12:35?
Yeah, I'm very aware of that, right.
I've got bags under my eyes from all these playoff and World Series games, but I'm sure that the Phillies will have a tough time sleeping with what they did tonight. Philadelphia's Phils aren't going to go quietly in this year's October Classic. They proved that tonight, bouncing right back from Game 1 setback. You talk about a great place to watch a ball game up in a Sky Dome skybox. Nice vantage point. Skybox, nice vantage point. 5 runs for Philly off of Dave Stewart in the 5th. Jim Eisenreich parks one. It's a 3-run homer, 5-0 Phils. Terry Mulholland pitched up pretty well, but Joe Carter had him. Joe Carter had him figured out here. It's a 2-run shot. It's going to clear, believe me. 5-2 at that point. Michael Bolton liked softball and baseball. Best catch from the guy who swallowed that tobacco, says Carolyn. Lenny Dykstra back against the wall, makes the catch. Series is dead even at 1-1. Game 3 is Tuesday. Now the NFL. No doubt about it, the Cowboy-Niners game figured to be the most intriguing, a rematch of last year's NFC Championship game. I'll tell you what, nothing's changed. Pokes are still better. Michael Irvin, 12 catches, the juggling act there. A big second half does it for Dallas. At the Meadowlands, how about those Giants today? Their first place, 5-1 record. They beat the Eagles. Phil Simms to Ed McCaffrey there. Everything's going right for Dan Reeves and company. The Saints unbeaten no more. The Steelers force 5 turnovers. Here is Rod Woodson with one of 3. Force 5 turnovers. Here is Rod Woodson with one of 3 interceptions for Pittsburgh. The return here covers 67 yards. Wade Wilson was sacked 5 times in that one. In Cleveland, Bernie Kosar may sit for a while. New Browns #1 QB Benny Testaverde, 3 TD strikes. Tommy Vardell works hard to get in on this play down the left sideline. David Shula's Bengals fall to 0-6. Yikes. And something I'd like to try to do every week here, show you some plays that maybe didn't figure in game outcomes, but must show stuff nonetheless. Patriots and the Oilers. Houston won this game. Carolyn, watch Steve Jackson. The interception for a score. He celebrates like it happened on Super Bowl Sunday. Take it easy, bub. Take it easy. Best shot taken by a zebra. The official goes down hard there. Ouch. Stick of the day, Herb. Look at this. Seahawks on the Lions. Michael Bates. Stick smell gray. That was the game's opening kickoff, too. Catch of the day. Rodney Peete looking. He's got Herman Moore. Herman Moore with a great catch to stay in. Afterwards, what happens to him? Watch. They slap him. It's a bonding kind of a thing. Same game, something else to enjoy. Mel Gray, who was embarrassed on the first play of the game, says, "Take this, you guys." From his own 6, he races 94 yards for the score. The he was way open play of the day. Steve Berline of the Cards looking for Ricky Prohl. I told you he was wide open. And Joe Bugle still upset about something, giving somebody an earful. Don't read the lips. Somebody, but that's how you cool him down. Give him the Gatorade bath. That'll make him shut up. Take it easy, coach. Hard-nosed touchdown run of the day for the Chargers. Look at this guy, just boom, boom, boom. Oh, he's over the goal line. Cheap shot of the day. I didn't like this play coming up. Joe Montana, who led his squad to a comeback, back to pass. A big lineman gets 1, then 2 arms and slams him. He was okay. He led the Chiefs to the 4th quarter victory. I can't decide if I feel relief or sympathy for Eric Dickerson, maybe a little bit of both. The once great running back officially retired from the NFL today. When he was right, he was one of the very best.
Since the last month has been almost wacky for me. I just want to relax. I'm going to probably go back to Texas for a while and just Sealy? Yeah, back to Sealy. And just hide out. I mean, I just really want to just relax for a while.
So Dickerson wraps up a pro career. Chris Webber just starts one. The former member of the Fab Five got his paperwork in order with the Golden State Warriors yesterday, something like an 8-year, $50 million deal. Webber, first sophomore drafted #1 in the draft since Magic Johnson back in '79. You know, some guys, folks, will do anything to create a stir. Case in point, Dennis Rodman.
I'm not trying to please anybody. I just want to win games for them.
We like Demolition Man. Call him Demolition Man.
This does it. Shook all of us up, man. It was a grand entrance.
We're going to see more of this. We're going to see more of this. You know, this city going to just be upside down when I get through.
He had the blonde hairdo. Golf now. Let's talk about Dottie Mockery. She took home the first place check from the LPGA's World Championship of Golf down in Florida, a two-stroke victory over Donna Andrews. And down in good old San Antonio, the PGA's Texas Open, Jay Haas is out of his mind today. This putt to force a sudden death playoff with Bob Lauer. He birdied the first extra hole, ditto for the second to win, 9th time in 17 years. He's got to still be partying tonight like the Phils. And I know we've got loads of NASCAR fans around the state. Let me take care of your weekly video fix. The Advanced 500 down in Martinsville today. Put yourself in this guy's place. Look at this. He's rolling along, all of a sudden sparks are flying. Wheel came off. He is riding on the darn hub. You're not supposed to do that. That's trouble. Those poor lug nuts. Chuck Baum kept all 4 of his tires intact. Wins by just a little over Steve Grissom. They were celebrating good times today. Finally tonight, we were able to get a camera over at Towson State yesterday, last home game of the season for the Tigers women's soccer team, and the Tigers hosting Gardner-Webb. Number 9 is Amy Pfaff, and she was all over the visitors' goalie today, but the visitors' goalie was rejecting. But watch this now, penalty kick for Gardner-Webb, and the ball will be deflected by the goalie, but Towson State puts it in. It was 1-1 when we left. Let's hope, let's assume that Towson State pulled that game out today. The Phils won tonight, so the series is tied at 1 apiece.
And then they're off Monday night, right?
Off Monday. Game 3 is on Tuesday.
In Philadelphia. I like that NFL highlight thing. You're going to do that every Sunday?
We're going to try to.
That's
I like
fun.
the Superman music behind it.
I like that. Enjoyed it. Thanks a lot. We'll be back after this look at tonight's winning lottery numbers.
A special assignment report Monday night at 11 on TV 11 News.
A lot of former students in town this weekend for a couple of homecoming games around the area.
And that's what homecoming's all about. The weatherman, Rob, did us a favor. It's yucky outside right now, but the weather was fine for these games. There's something special about homecoming. Coaches always count on bringing out the best from their players. Morgan State hosted North Carolina A&T today, hoping to send their faithful on the road smiling, good-looking crowd. A lot of people to cheer on the team. Watch the Aggies quarterback now. He's trying to pass, but he's got some problems. He's a left-hander, rolls and finds a guy, and look at the nice run tacked onto the catch. That's going to be a touchdown. Morgan answers back. Orlando Purcell, the quarterback, he sees an opening and he takes it. Here's your final. A tough day for the Bears. They fall. Over at Towson State, homecoming there. Good-looking crowd, too. Good for the concession people, I'm sure. Howard, nationally ranked, a powerful running game. Case in point there. The Tigers unbeaten in. A great offense this year from this club, breaking school records. There's a touchdown. Here's your final. Towson's Tigers are now 5-0 and playing well. It was bound to happen. The Maryland football team hanging up a W. Yes, Carolyn. ACC foe Duke. Visiting at College Park, the final. Maryland 26, the Blue Devils 18. Now the Terps can spend some time licking their wounds. For 2 weeks, actually. They're off next Saturday. They had hats made up for the Penn State-Michigan game. Joe Paterno, I think, wondering about the game and wondering how he can get one of those hats maybe. Every Saturday you count on 1 or 2 big plays from the specialty teams. The Wolverines got more than one. Here's the one I want to show you. On the punt, guy named Alexander, virtually untouched. Your final, there it is. The Lions still getting their feet wet in the Big Ten. Other scores I know you're wondering about. At the break, Florida State and Virginia. There's a third period score, Tennessee and Alabama. Notre Dame and the Cougars tonight. Elsewhere, a mild upset, Auburn over Florida. In the third, I've got Colorado battling Oklahoma. Oklahoma has to score some in that game. Michigan State and Ohio State at the halfway mark. And Kansas State falls to number 6 Nebraska. Elsewhere, North Carolina thumping Georgia Tech today at the half. Washington and the Bears. And Texas A&M clobbers Baylor 34-17. Have you forgotten? Have you forgotten the fact that baseball's second season continues tonight? The Blue Jays and Phillies in Game 1 of the Best of 7 October Classic. Coverage starts right before 8:30 here on Channel 11. The starters, Juan Guzman against former Oriole Kurt Schilling. Of course, both clubs have a hefty supply of lumber on hand for each of the games. The Major League bigwigs like to put a special World Series stamp on all the bats. One player said no, leave his bats alone.
A sample is Lenny Dykstra. We normally put World Series on the bats or playoffs, and he doesn't want that. He's superstitious. He just wants the Phillies on there.
Baseball's probably got more superstitious players than any sport. Let's hope Lenny Dykstra's happy tonight. The NBA's preseason is here. Seems like those poor guys just finished up a couple of months ago. Bullets out west with West facing the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks hoping for a strong inside game this year. I think they got it. That's Mayberry. Brent Price is the brother of Mark. Brent trying to make the club for the Bullets. He scores threes like his bro. Your final, the Bullets fall by 6. Preseason action last night. Baltimore Spirit, there's Kenny Cooper, his club battling Harrisburg in a funny play against last year's chief nemesis. Their goalie tries to deflect and actually scores. Here's your score again as he scores for the Spirit. That's a nice way to get started. The Spirit wins last night, 12-7 the final. Again, the World Series, Game 1, the October Classic. This
Are you going to tell us who you want to win or who you think's going to win, or are we going to keep quiet about that?
I think because of the Phillies and the way that they're just mean,
they're
obnoxious. You know, maybe John Kruk didn't even get the uniform. Remember his uniform had the tear in the back?
Oh, yeah. Did he get it fixed?
Let's hope so, but knowing him, he'll show up with the thing still there. They're a mean bunch.
Hey, I like it. They got some style.
They do have some style, a rude style, if you will. I'll pick the Phillies in 6 games.
Okay, we'll see what happens. We'll be back with more in just a minute. And they're meeting in Chicago. An announcement on the 2 expansion cities should be made in just a few days. Paul Davis is here now with the latest on all the excitement.
This is worse than waiting for your wife to have a baby. Only in this situation, we do know it's going to happen on Tuesday. At least we think so, Carolyn. I don't know if I'd rather be in Chicago or Baltimore come Tuesday when the word comes. I mean, this place is just going to erupt if we hear what we want to hear. More than one local Crusader thinks we're a lock. It is the 11th hour in the NFL expansion marathon. This time Tuesday, it'll all be over except for the shouting or the crying. One thing's for sure, a yay for Baltimore means we can stop looking at this god-awful foul tape from that snowy March night in '84. No, we'll never forget the Colts, but we will be able to start writing new chapters in Baltimore pro football lore. No brag, just fact. Baltimore's expansion game plan has been solid. We're all set to build a brand new stadium. We've proven we know how to do that right. Fan support, this used to be home to the world's largest outdoor insane asylum. Build it, and they'll come back. In other cities tonight, they're saying the major chink in our armor, the 2 potential ownership groups.
I've asked the commissioner, first Pete Rozelle, then Paul Tagliabue, on many occasions, as recently as 2 weeks ago, are we at a disadvantage for having 2 ownership groups? As it turns out, as we're watching what's going on in other cities, it may turn out to be an advantage for us.
Some say the Eagles, Bombers, Redskins geographic sandwich won't work.
Turn it around, though. It creates a great rivalry. If we add to that the Jets and the Giants, and the 5 teams are within close to the Metropolitan Conference, all it's going to do is excite people, make greater football, greater for the cities and greater for the NFL.
No matter what anybody says, only God knows for sure how the league's 28-team owners will vote. Word should come just as Baltimore sits down to dinner Tuesday night.
Do you buy the theory that Baltimore is fighting with St. Louis to be one of the olds to get a new?
More likely, they do want to go into virgin territory. They do want to do what some of the other major sports have done. Probably there will be an old city which pits us directly against St. Louis, and a new city.
All right, now here's the schedule of what's expected to happen in Chicago. Most owners won't arrive till sometime tomorrow. There are no planned sessions scheduled, but on Tuesday, owners have a meeting in the morning at 8 to discuss the bids. Then at 1 on Tuesday, each of the 5 competing cities gets to make a final 15-minute presentation. Again, decision maybe by dinner time. Jerry Sandusky and I think half of the entire Channel 11 newsroom is in Chicago. Jerry will have reports starting tomorrow at noon from Chicago.
Can you imagine what will happen here in Baltimore?
It's going to be one major party.
Yes?
going to be one major party for three consecutive days in this city.
Either that or a lot of really long races one way or the other.
There'll be some grumpy folks if we don't. Party time if we do.
Quick word on wake-up weather.
Nice day coming our way tomorrow. Look for a temperature at 7.
That's Rob. Coming up next for you in sports, a big day to kick off a big week in the NFL. Paul Davis is chock full of highlights coming up next for you. Paul Davis walked into the newsroom about a dozen times today with a stack of tapes this high. What were you doing?
Troy had some good highlights. You didn't see it, though, when I dropped those things on the floor. A major fumble. What a pleasant surprise the Cleveland Browns have been this year for their faithful in Cleveland. Heck, they're 5-2 now. Against Pittsburgh today, Eric Metcalf, simply amazing, simply unstoppable. He returned 2 punts for scores, including one for a record 91 yards for the Browns. His second came with about a minute to play to win the game. Eric Metcalf ought to be eating steak tonight. How about another surprise club this year, Detroit? They won again. Did in the Rams. Barry Sanders scored more than once. Today he's having a good season. Jason Hanson's game-winning field goal came with 4 ticks left on the clock. Lions are 5-2. Surprise, surprise. And I don't know how you felt, but our bit next was a hit with Carolyn last week, the day's best from the pros, and I always love a great stick. Anthony Fryer meet Russell Copeland. I'll tell you what, both are looking for the aspirin bottles tonight. The stick that didn't matter. Courtney Hawkins is nailed, but you know what? A great receiver that he is, he holds on to the ball. Happiest quarterback today, that's easy. Bobby Hebert. He beat his old Saints team. I thought this guy was so high he was going to take off at the Dome. I mean, he's ready to soar, man. I'm not so happy camper Boomer Esiason. His Jets lost to Buffalo. Darryl Talley has another ball for his trophy case. 61 yards, it takes a thief. Same game, I can't believe I dropped that ball to Buffalo's Don Beebe. I mean, what was wrong with that cat? That ball was right there. And you knew it wouldn't take Neon Dion long to make his mark for the 93 season. This INT helps in that Falcons victory. It sets up a score. Boy, he sure burned the defense award. Watch this. The Packers' Sterling Sharp had 4 TDs today. He has got lightning speed. Another wild, cheesy day in the pros. The 18th running of the Marine Corps Marathon today in D.C. marked by the death of a 58-year-old man. The unidentified runner collapsed at about the 23-mile mark, flown to Washington Hospital Center, died after a heart attack. It was the 3rd death in the history of the race. What a good time they're having north of the border still. This was the scene earlier in Toronto as baseball's new champs partied hardy. The 2-timing Blue Jays celebrated their conquest of the Phils. I haven't heard of any rioting or looting for this World Championship bash. Isn't that a pleasant surprise? Of course, Toronto earned the rights to the party after last night's dramatic comeback win in Game 6 of the series. I mean, Joe Carter's game-winning shot almost as wild as Kirk Gibson's miracle a couple of years ago, but Joe doesn't want to hear any of that.
They want to look and say that, well, Joe Carter won the game for us. That's not true. I didn't win the game. We all did. We play as a team, we win as a team, and we lose as a team.
And as you may have expected, more than a couple of Phillies fans made the trip to the airport to welcome home their fallen heroes.
162 games for us, 12 postseason games for us. The least we could do is wait 12 hours to thank them.
Don't forget, the Phils went from last to first. That is one great turnaround for sure. They wrapped up the Turf Classic at Laurel today. Square Cut took the lead early and held to win the Laurel Turf Cup, paid $10 to win. The best the PGA has to offer out west in Vegas, the Vegas Invite. Get this, Davis Love III wins by 8 strokes. He finished the day 5, or the 5-day 90-hole event, 29 under par. Best of all, the payoff over 252,000 smackers. And let me clear up some of the confusion on what was happening down at Camden Yards today. Did you drive by? Baltimore's first annual Mini Grand Prix. They set up race course, then set the drivers up in go-karts powered by 5-horsepower engines. These were adults driving these things. An interesting way for the Arthritis Foundation to cruise to some bucks.
We sell these cars. Businesses come in, we sold 34 cars, and they pay a fee, they own the car, and then they come out here and they race. We expect that we have done well over $40,000 here this afternoon for the Arthritis Foundation.
They gave out all kinds of awards, thanking the local businesses for fielding cars for more than one drive, or a chance maybe to feel like a kid again.
What a rush! That is. You get out there and you figure it's for fun and you're just going to take it easy, but once you get out there, the competitive fires start going a little bit, and it gets a little serious.
They say they want to do this every year. It's nice the Orioles let them use the parking lot back blacktop today. Interesting pictures from today's NASCAR race down south. The Delco 500 in Rockingham. More than one car got tangled in this mess. And this was scary. Look at this at home. One of the ambulances on the scene had a fire burning underneath. Nobody hurt from that. It's amazing. Rusty Wallace won again, but still trails Dale Earnhardt by 72 points in the standings. Before I go, let's have some fun. Remember last night we showed you how the Baltimore Bombers uniforms could look if what we're hearing pans out as far as color coordination. I said we needed players a little bit bigger than these scrawny characters. I say we require all of our first-year players to go through training for the American Gladiator competition. I watched this morning for the first time. What a way to build a football team. This is Swing Shot, Kathleen Scarvers and Ruth Morris. Carolyn, you could do this. When the guys do it, it's even worse. Here's a three-man collision there. And couldn't we set up an obstacle course like this over at the old Colts Owings Mills complex? I mean, the Bombers could weed out contenders from the pretenders. I mean, that was just an awesome display of athletic ability.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the object of the first deal?
You were supposed to grab a ball, put it in your mouth, and then take it to your own little goal, a basket. I've never seen it before today.
Looks like a lot of fun. We'll be back after this look at tonight's winning lottery numbers. Stay here.
Bye. Paul Davis joins us now with sports. It's Friday night, and we know what Friday night means.
But you know what? The weather's so beautiful tonight. Probably the last good weather Friday night for football.
You're probably right about that.
Probably right about that. We'll talk to Tom later about that. It is a football lover's delight. WBAL's Operation Football. The crews are all back now. Rosters have been turned in. As for what we've got for you, Game of the week, Forest Park and Patterson, Clippers QB Willie McGirt. Great job faking out our camera guy. Look at Ryan Lewis, 64 yards. He knew he had the ball. We don't always have to highlight the offense, do we? Watch Wendell Collins, the sack attack. The Foresters were ranked 13th, but Patterson won today. City and Edmonton, you have to like the music tonight. Knights blow open more than one big hole in this game. Number 34 is Damian Bean. He hightails it to the goal line. Here he comes into your living room, 65 yards. The Knights get their 29th straight win. They're ranked number 1. McDonough and Calvert Hall. McDonough's number 17 is Dwayne Stoops. And he'll get clear sailing down the left sideline, gets a couple of great blocks. 34-6 at that point. Later, Bobby Sablehouse, the dying quail to Dante Evans, but he makes the catch for the score. McDonough ranked 5th, now 7th. And how about some scores? In Joppatown, not sure what the sign language means. Probably score, baby, score. CM Wright versus Joppatown. Mike Schmidt to Dwayne Fisher. He's bound for glory. The Stangs doing well after their first regular season loss since '89, 2 weeks ago. Bel Air now and Elton. A couple of great plays to show you. Watch Bel Air get the touchdown catch right in the corner of the end zone. Next time with the ball, Bel Air's number 15. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to embarrass him, but he almost had a touchdown there. He dropped the ball. The Elton Club enjoying pizza right now because they won. Now, more scores. All right, just like every week, time for our Friday feature. The Lansdowne High football program nearly bit the dust this time a year ago, but after some hard work and rededication by parents, players, and administrators alike, they're still playing the game.
We were hard-pressed to find a single highlight in the Channel 11 sports archives for the Vikings. Fact of the matter, a terrible time on the gridiron the last few years. Consecutive 0-10 seasons into '93. They even forfeited 3 games last year with only 8 players on the roster.
We were at a point where it was almost a decision was going to be made that we weren't going to have a JV football team.
Then the turnaround. Athletic director Ed Walker went out and hired a new head coach with wonderful credentials, Terry Brooks. A fire was lit under parents and boosters to put their money where their mouths were for program support.
We've had the community put together the funds to buy lights. We were the first school in Baltimore County to have lights for night football games, soccer games, and lacrosse games. In addition to that, the community has put together funds this year to build our stadium, and put together by members of the community.
Yeah, the brand new football stadium, state-of-the-art for Lansdowne and all of Baltimore County for that matter.
Approximately $40,000 it cost to build it. It was all put together by community funds through the athletic boosters and through the efforts of our athletic director, Eddie Walker, and again, members of the community.
The Vikings still haven't turned things around where some say it counts the most, the scoreboard. Still looking for their first victory in 3 years, but most definitely on the